Hi y'all, welcome. I'm just gonna lean in so you can see me for a second. I'd prefer if you could see me all the way, but it's just not the right shot in here. So I'm just saying hi. I felt a huge, extreme feeling compelled to do this layout, in part because of a layout that was just uploaded on my favorite reader's channel, Intuitive Goddess 333. She shared a dream that she had several years ago when she started going through her awakening, which was the same time that I started going through my kind of spiritual ascension and recognizing it on a deeper level who I am. And it involved these women coming and holding her in a protective embrace, and then kind of also doing some acknowledging that there was like a storm and havoc around them while they were protecting her, and they experienced some rage. And it's a great reading. I haven't even finished it because it became immediately clear that I needed to share the dream that I had, that I kept thinking I wasn't going to share because it felt like it was just meant for me. In fact, let me just grab my little journal here because there might be details that I forgot, but it's the last dream I wrote down, and I had it the night before I went on my trip. I just went on a trip to the Gulf Coast, and sometimes I get a precognitive warning that just comes in the form of numbers, and 911 is usually a sign that I need to take note, be aware, watch, and there's might be something about to go down, right? 911 in the US, that's an emergency phone number. And I had that number keep showing up for me before I went on my trip. And so I was scared. I was like, what does this mean? Like, am I going to get hurt on my trip? Or like, it's hard not to kind of bug out or trip out about stuff like that. Well, what ended up happening, I was seeing 911. And then the night before the trip, I had this dream. The main piece of it I remember, but I wanted to bring this in case there was... in case there was more to it that was important. Okay, I told that dream before. Yeah, I don't... Oh, okay, this was a part that I left out. I told the dream before, and it was about a dream of feeling like I was being set up by some exes, just people from my past, and recognizing that I needed to get out of there and go and just drive no matter what was being done to scare me. I talked about that dream in another layout. In fact, I think it was either one or two layouts ago. But I left part of it out because it felt like it was just meant only for me. But then hearing that reading today from Bella, I was like, no, this is bigger than that. So in part of that dream, as I was realizing that I was being set up and needing to get away, my grandmother Vogel was there, my dad's mom, and she sometimes shows up as like a protective angel for me. She's the one person in my family who I actually have a resemblance to physically. She was a very gentle, loving soul. My whole family cherished her. And while I was looking around and realizing that I was being set up, all of a sudden my grandma Vogel was there. And she was acting frail and like she maybe had dementia and was confused. And even though I was getting scared for my own safety, all of that went away the moment I saw her and realized she might be needing my help. And I forgot about everybody around me and what I was feeling threatened by. And I went over to her and I was like, "Are you okay? What can I do for you, Grandma?" And she started indicating that she wanted to go outside of this building that we were in that was like filthy, right? And so I said, okay. And so I was kind of guiding her. She seemed very elderly and frail, right? As soon as we get outside, it's like she became this superwoman, right? Like she was very small framed like I am, and had trouble keeping weight on. That was like part of her biology, just like mine. People can feel envious of that, but it's actually not very fun at times. But anyways, as I was helping her outside and we get outside, she turns around and smiles and this big grin, and she was acting like she wasn't frail and old and confused. She was discerning and tricking the people around us. And then all of a sudden she gave me a huge long embrace, and she was just ripped, right? Even though she was small and wiry, like her whole musculature was just ripped, like with strength. And she gave me such a huge protective hug that I could not ignore it. It was the most vivid part of the dream, actually, but I didn't share it when I shared the rest of it. It had to do with deer, and just, it was an intense dream. And so then the next morning, when I'm still seeing that 911 and getting scared, I was like, well, that dream meant something. I think my grandmother's with me and she's letting me know that she's protecting me. So no bullshit, I fly to the Gulf Coast where I was going for this conference, and I was in the air at the same time of the DC plane crash with the helicopter, with the Black Hawk helicopter. I was in the air at the same time. And so I think it was just meant to show me that I was going to be safe through that, and a horrible event like that. And since then, there have been a lot of plane wrecks, right? And I had another one that felt a lot of 911 when I was flying home. I was seeing the 911 number, especially right as my plane took off. And so I was scared as fuck. I was like, fuck, are we going to wreck? Like, I don't want to die in a plane crash, you know? Who does, right? But I was really worried about it. And it was stormy in Portland the day that we landed, and so there was a lot of turbulence as I was getting home. And oh, my candle just went out. And but we landed safely. But then since then, there've been more plane wrecks, right? Like, it's just been kind of scary as fuck, okay? And so there's something about that dream that's important. My grandmother protecting me, because it was really similar to the dream that Bella had years ago about this woman embracing her in this intense hug, like, of power and strength. That's what my grandmother's was. Like, my grandma wasn't strong like that in life. Maybe when she was picking cherries during the Depression, but she was wiry as fuck. Like, you would not want to take her on. She was that wiry, even though she was small. So you might be needing to know that you're protected. I put on this blouse, even though it's like morning and I don't even have to work till later, because I was like, I want to mean business while I'm doing this reading. Nobody better fuck with me, right? Just like nobody better fuck with you, and nobody's going to. And it was some kind of message about shit's going down, possibly. Like, I don't know. Like, I saw this seismologist predicting that there might be about to be a huge quake in the Aegean Sea. That could be happening in the next couple days around this full moon. It's a full moon in my sign, so I'm really paying close attention to my own spiritual work right now. The full moon in Leo. I'm a Leo rising. And I'm taking the opportunity to cleanse away anything that's going to try to put me in danger. Right? That's how I've been working, because a lot of people feel kind of endangered right now, not just me. So I'm not trying to just make this about me. But as I was listening to her reading, I'm like, this is serious. Like, I need to share about that dream. It's a confirmation, not just for me, but probably for other people. I've got my copal here and my juniper berry that I really wanted to burn for protection for the energy in here. And in fact, the date that she mentioned that might have been significant for people in the collective, one of the dates she said was June 2019. And that was a time when I went on a trip, on a flight again. And so it had meaning for me that maybe something happened at that time. She was also talking about at that time in her life, she felt like family was coming against her and threatening her and potentially doing things to threaten her life. And I've been having a lot of weird stuff going on like that in my own psyche, that I've really had to be like, if that's happening or not, you know, I just need to show up strong. Like, I don't have anything to fear, right? Or if I do, what can I do about it? Or is it just paranoia because I had an experience in my very early 20s that could have been diagnosed as paranoid, right? But I've now come to realize a lot of it was precognition. Like, I was having sight at that time about things that are now coming to pass, but it was too much and my body didn't know how to handle it, and I was acting paranoid and I wasn't sleeping. And, you know, I think now about that experience as more meaningful than I attributed it to at the time. I just attributed it to psychosis, right? But I don't think so. I think there was more to it than that. And so anyways, I'm on one. I feel like I'm talking really fast, and now I just want to do a layout for us. And then I'll probably do some scrying and some tiles as well with these hazel sticks. What do we need to know? Why is this why is this being delivered? Because I can tell it's not just for me. As soon as I started getting those confirmations from her reading, I knew I need to do a reading myself, because this is possibly going to be confirmation for you in the way that it was for me. Like, we're protected. My grandmother was protecting me through some heavy shit, through planes literally crashing midair, right? And going down in flames. Nobody surviving. There's been more of that all around, right? It's not just me. Other people might be feeling like this, and this is to reassure us. This is something to reassure us, okay? For me, in June 2019, I went to Mexico, and I visited a very dear friend while I was, that was the whole reason I went, was because I was starting to feel panicked about where my life was going, and I was confused. I felt like I was on the wrong path, but I didn't really have any reason to feel like that other than internal anxiety, and that trip was a big part of helping me get the clarity I needed. And so it's crazy that she brought up that time frame in her reading. I just want to thank her. She's by far my favorite reader, hands down. Intuitive Goddess 333, also known as Bella. She has another channel, Angel Therapy 333. I just love her readings. I never tire of them. I have other readers where I'll go on a streak where I like them, but then it kind of wears off and wears thin, and I'll even start feeling like I'm getting inaccurate messages through them, so I just unsubscribe and unfollow. But her readings are just stalwarts for me. They've been so helpful, and I try to tip her because of that, because it's like, I don't want to just take, I want to give back to somebody like that. So what do we need to know? What is coming through about all this? What's important? It's got to do with the full moon in Leo. I definitely can feel that. I don't know why are all these plane wrecks happening, right? Like, what the fuck is going on? What is happening? Like, what is going on in the United States? What is we're facing real threats. Like, it's scary as fuck times. I want to move, but it's to the south, and it's like, do I really want to move to the south? Like, this whole region has been my home my whole life. I don't have anything keeping me here anymore. Not family, not friendships. Like, I need a new start. And so I'm thinking about moving down there, but I'm scared. Like, I'm going to move to Hurricane Alley. Like, I don't know, but where I live, the threat is an earthquake, right? And a tsunami if I live on the coast, because I really want to move to the coast. So what's going on? What do we need to understand about this? At the bottom of the deck is the Hierophant. So we're it's a spiritual process for us. We're listening here, like you can see in Frank's deck. We're listening to our intuition. We're listening to what's going on. We're outside of the hubbub of society, and we're getting clear. We're in a mode of finding the keys. In the heart center here are two crossed keys, like a crossroads. We're listening, and we're here to help, right? We're here to be helpful, but it's also scary. It's like, well, when I move, I'm still going to be doing my helping profession, but I'm scared now, kind of, in a way, right? And I know that other people are too. Sorry, this is not ideal in terms of... Okay, so what's interesting here is that there's two major arcanas, and they are the Death card and the Empress card. So the Empress card is in the recent past position in this Celtic cross layout. So at the heart of things is the Queen of Pentacles crossed by the Eight of Wands. So this represents us. We're in an abundant place. We're in a place of building our own personal empire of material security. That's very true for me. Although I'm broke now, I know and have the vision of what I'm doing. I know it's worth protecting. And in fact, I've taken steps now legally to protect my work, even though it's not viral, even though only a handful of people relative to other readers on YouTube are watching my work. I know what I'm doing is valuable. I don't need that ego affirmation of going viral. I know that I need to protect it because other people are going to have the vision to see what I'm doing is valuable, right? And want to steal it maybe before I go viral or something, right? So if I go viral. So I know that I'm generating security for myself, just like you do. crossing that is a lot of communication. So that's what happened to me this morning. I woke up and just messages incoming, flying at me, almost more than I could process, related to my own dream about my grandmother and being held and protected, and the timeline that she was talking about, and the threats from family, all of it. Like, it's intense. I don't even know what to do other than trust it, right? So that's what I'm doing. I feel myself like speeding as I talk, like I was speeding in that dream with my grandmother away from the risk. I was driving away in my car speeding and just saying, don't look back, keep going, get out of here, don't let the fear stop you. You need to just keep going out of this setup area. You're being set up, right? I don't know what that's about, but I just done trying to doubt myself, and I'm listening. And this morning was major confirmation of that. Lots of incoming messages that confirmed what I was already feeling. It was really intense to land in my plane in Biloxi, get to the hotel, and realize that I had been in the air at the same time of that horrible crash. I know I'm not trying to take away from the loss of the people who actually were killed in the crash, but it was humbling and scary to realize that 911 I had been seeing was real. My grandmother showed up in my dream was real, to know I was protected. What we're being shown here from the higher realms is that we have a choice to make about our material world, and under the what's in the unseen is that we're needing to stand our ground. We're needing to keep going. We're needing to trust what we're being shown, and we're needing to move away from the risks that we're in, whether that's you feeling like you're being set up, you feeling like you're in an abusive relationship, abusive workplace. It might be literally set up legally, like you might be feeling surrounded by people who are trying to set you up for a prison sentence or anything, right? It could be anything like that. And the higher realms are saying we have a choice, and what's going on in the unseen is standing our ground, okay? In the recent past, we had the understanding that we're protecting our abundance and we're achieving our abundance. In the present moment is a continuation of that with the Queen of Pentacles. In the near future, we need to take a rest. It's okay for us to stop and rest while this kind of stuff is going on, okay? The energy coming towards us is this Death card. It's bigger than us. It's not something that we can control. We need to rest right now. We need to conserve our energy because there are bigger things at work. We're in a position of trying to find who we're going to work with. Who are the people in our lives that are for us, and who are the people in our lives that maybe we need to move away from. The Three of Cups often shows up to me like a triangle in love. And with this Death card here, the 3-4 of it's like we're needing to just slow down. It's okay. We're going to understand. We're going to get the answers. There's fear around this because of this Death card. You might be moving entirely away from a group that you've, like for me, if I move across the country, I'm leaving everything I've ever known, basically. I've traveled the world and I've had the benefits of travel and growing and expanding that way. And in fact, I'm moving towards other family if I move down there. But it's scary, and I keep being like, is this a crazy move? Like, what am I thinking? Like, I don't know anything about the culture in the South. I'm afraid of going into a part of the world where, you know, there's not that there's not racism where I live, but intense levels of racism that I don't understand. And I'm a stranger in a strange land in some ways, moving to the South. And I'm actually afraid at times. Like, I don't really know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And this is what I feel like that card is about. It feels a little bit uncertain if you're making the right moves. It's saying just take some rest. Rest your mind. Don't worry. Continue to stand up for yourself and continue to recognize that you're being faced with a choice about your material reality. You can't control what's happening around you. It's a death to the old way. This is a major confirmation of that for you, just like it is for me. This is a dying to the old way, very much so. You're hoping and fearing what you're not hoping for this. You're fearing that it's going to hurt. You're fearing more heartbreak yet again. You're fearing more loss, more realizations, more disappointment that the people you thought you could trust are not trustworthy. That's coming through really strong, and it's been a death for you. It could even be like in the last reading where you feel like people have been wishing for your death, and you're really worried that this is just going to keep going on and on and on, that you're going to keep having sorrow after sorrow after sorrow. That's where your worries are. That's where your fears are coming from. It's for sure me. When I had the anxiety about my bodily safety, that for sure was only part of it. I've got a lot of fear about making these moves. And that reading this morning really confirmed for me that I have nothing to fear. It reminded me. But this is where we can get into this. This kind of change is so big and so massive that you can get into this easily. And that's where I was this morning when I woke up. Where we're headed is beautiful connections. Two of Cups is really wonderful, loving, balanced, not triangulated like here. Balanced partnership. This could be a partner, right? You might be feeling so alone and vulnerable and like, where is someone to walk through this with me? 2-2, 4, right? Where is this? 7-8, that's a progression, right? 3-4 is a progression, okay? 2-3 is a progression, but where the energy is headed is a stable partnership. Look at how stable that card is, of love, of the cups of the heart, not the sorrow that you're fearing, but a stable union with something new relationships, new connections of the heart. What we need to worry about right now is just resting ourselves for the coming change, for this death card, okay? Yeah, sorry, I'll just stop talking now. I'm going to pull some more cards. What is the standing our ground about here in the unseen? It's a fight. It's like feeling you need to defend yourself. And that's how I felt in that dream with the deer being strung up. It was a really horrible dream. But my grandmother came in to show me that I was protected and that I needed to just trust myself and go and get out of where I felt like I was being set up, okay? So these are things that I'm intending to have relevance for whoever, not just me. That's why I'm sharing it here, because I don't think they're dreams that are just about me. They're about other people going through similar, right? What is the 7 of Wands here? What are the dynamics that you're feeling like you have to be sturdy and solid about as you make these changes and step into the new? What are the circumstances? At the bottom is the Knight of Wands, so very fiery. There's a lot of incoming information, like we just said with this 8 of Wands, and maybe even a person in this kind of energy that's racing towards you. What is the 7 of Wands? The Queen of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, the 9 of Wands. Yeah, you need to be understanding that your fate is secure, that your fortune is coming, that everything you've been building for yourself is real, it's tangible, it's coming into the material. You've been very, very discerning about it, but you're also really tired. You're worried about more. Like, I don't want to endure any more heartbreak. I don't want to endure any more fear of these death level changes, right? Someone's coming in, like I said, a page of coins. This could represent you and the seeds that you're planting, but I'm also figuring that it's, you know, somebody else coming in. You've stood your ground, though. That's what's being affirmed here. Your fate is secure, all right? What else? What about this 2 of Cups? Can we find anything out about that? There's a lot of balance in this layout, even though you may feel like you're in a time of imbalance and fear and insecurity. This is saying, actually, no. Your fate is secure. You're protected. These are fears of the mind. Just rest. Your fate is secure. You've done the work already. That's what it's showing me. You've done the work. You have the choice to keep going and standing your ground, and that's what you're being affirmed to do. What about this 2 of Cups? Wow, the King of Swords at the bottom of the deck. So you might be meeting a counterpart. A King and Queen of Swords are warrior kings and queens, right? They're very discerning, very wise. They're up for the challenges. They have the right mindset, right? The Page of Swords. Now we have 2 pages here. So people are watching, okay? People may not like this. There may have been people that are trying to prevent it for some reason. There's conflict, but it's not conflict that is beyond your ability to figure out. And in fact, conflicts like this at times that the 5 of Wands can bring can actually teach you what you're made of. So you may have had somebody watching. Oh my God, the Sun. This is so exciting. So in spite of these conflicts and page energies trying to interfere in some way, that's what it is. You've had to stand up against energies that are page compared to you as the Queen and King of Swords, right? On the bottom of the deck. This is what's coming. This is joyful. You have no reason to fear. This is not going to be, okay? it is sad though to leave the old behind regardless, but it's saying that this is passing. You can just rest. Your work is assured. Your fate is secured. Your abundance is secure. Okay. Do not fear. By being willing to be discerning and take the steps that you've taken, be all business like me in this blouse, right? For this card reading. I'm about fucking business right now. I stand on business. I'm not screwing around anymore. I've had to get stone cold in some ways and stop lying to myself about certain things. Even when the lies want to creep in right now, like, no, that couldn't be. How could that be? Spirit will show me again. Yes, it is. Stop putting on blinders, right? What's saying though is that we're being rewarded for that with this beautiful energy coming in, okay? What else? I'm going to pull some more of my cards. What else to know here? What else to know? Jeez. Sacred marriage, alchemy at the split. This is what we're talking about. A Two of Cups and a Sun card very much represents that, with a King of Swords and a Queen of Swords coming together. Maybe by coming together, the absence of protection that's been eluding you is going to come to be. Abundance, fertility, impregnation. This is that Empress, Queen of Pentacles, right? This is what is here for you now. Anima, animus. It's also an internal process. The sacred marriage and the alchemy is an internal process. You've risen to this Queen of Swords, King of Swords, abundant, secured, fate, energy. These pages that have tried to stray you off your path have not succeeded. Find and be with your loyal and devoted community of support. And that's what we already identified that we're doing, right? We're already moving towards that. It's assured. We just have to find them. Medicine of laughter. That's very Sun card. This is what's coming. Okay, this is what we can be assured of and focused on. This is here for us. One month, 24 hours, 1 week, money. There's tricksters about. We already identified that. Don't look back. It's and a season, right? So we've got a week, a month, and 24 hours. So this is coming in fast, and you're already getting signs of this. You're already become aware that there's trickster setup energy around you, but you've already become aware of that, and you've already starting to move out of it. You've done the steps not only to protect yourself from that, but to bring in your harvest, your abundant, secure fortune, okay? And it's within this includes money, okay? It includes your material security, and it's within the next week, 24 hours to a month. It's happening, okay? This is important to hear. Making a change. This season is important, and don't look back. We're okay. We've got this. What else do we need to know here? Gaza. Okay, Gaza might have something to do with this. Rat. Erase. Something about erase here. Ploy. There's been a plot and ploy, right? There's been something nefarious happening, and Palestine is a clear example of that. I mean, Donald Trump's basically saying we're going to take it. The state of Israel's been saying we're going to plunder it, and we are plundering it. We just bombed the shit out of it. But also, there's stuff going to be revealed about this. And what's important to know is that if you're in this collective catching this reading, your future is safe and secure. Okay. That's important to hear. You are not going to be erased. Okay. There's no E here. It's not going to happen. What else? Trap, ploy, plot. That came through a lot. Okay. And this is here. If you've been feeling like you were being set up, this is confirmation, okay? But what's important to remember is that you're safe. It's not been a successful attempt, okay? This reading's not going to be for everyone. else? Pray. You've been praying, or it's a good time to pray, or they better be off somewhere praying, right? Like Kesha says, I hope you're somewhere praying, right? This shit's real. Slots, like that's has relevance for me. I stayed at a casino when I was on that trip, so there might be something about gambling here with the slot machines. Gray. The color gray might have meaning, or you might have gray hair. PA, my favorite reader is from Philly, so that people might have star. Stag and deer were in my reading. That other one. Par. Is that from golf? Yeah, you might golf. I was wanting to make loyalty, but it's not. Res. Short for reservation. You might be identified as indigenous. Something to do with the res. Glory. So as much as there's this plot, war, set up energy, there's also star, glory, prayer, res. Part. I wonder if I can see any names here. Yo. Pat. Sarah. Troy. Tara. Glenn. Oh no, there's no N. Lara. Did I say Tara already? I did, yeah. Gap, that makes me think of Mind the Gap in London with the tube. I think, page. We got 2 pages in this reading. They're pages, or you might be a page, literally, like at a hotel or something. Zorro. Oh no, there's only one. There's no Zorro there. Although Zorro might have meaning for someone. Agape, check that out. That's amazing. That's like holy love. Agape, star, pray. There were some other, as much as there was a setup like you're okay, you're safe, just like my grandmother came through. And in fact, not last night, but the night before, I had a dream that I was like, whoa, look at the sky. And it was just like this huge, beautiful, shifting nebula of like, I was seeing a galaxy forming, and as the longer I looked at it, an eye showed up in the center of it, and what it made me think of was the sort of true to life descriptions of angels, not like the winged figure, although those are beautiful too, but like kind of the more intense looking ones with lots of eyes and the Merkaba like chariot type energy. So I'm going to pull a dragon card and then I'm going to do scrying. And I have chills. Okay. I have goosebumps. So I feel okay doing this reading. And again, people in my old, some of my friends probably don't understand or think this reading is that I'm going off the rails. And I just have to let go of that because I know I'm not off the rails. All right. This is a different tip that I'm on here. And not everybody can come with me on that. And that's okay. I've had to let go of a lot of like, if I say these things, my friends are going to think I'm crazy or getting psychotic again. And it's like, no, I know better, at this point in my life. I know better. Slay. And in fact, I'm doing a dragon card here, so... Miracle at the split, this beautiful purple energy, making a difference through, believe in this light that you've been following, this guiding light, which reminds me of the light and the lantern of the hermit. There's a miracle coming for you. It's like what I saw in the sky, honestly. This is what it looked like. This dragon swirling here, this ephemeral dragon, and this person coming through with this lance that where I just said slay and agape, right? Like, that's what it looked like. And there was an eye right in the center. Like it was angelic love. The fact that you've been willing to trust your inner light, you're safe and protected. This is so cool. Effort, conquering your demons. You did this by, it's the 7 card of fire, just like the 7 of wands here. You did it by being willing to see this process through and stand your ground. Like I could have gotten so scared that I didn't go on the trip, right? But I was like, no. My grandmother came through to know that I was protected. I don't need to worry. Although it was intense. It was intense to land and realize, fuck, dude, people just got in a huge plane wreck at the same time. They were in the air at the same time as I was. That was a lot to take in. But I was safe and protected ultimately, right? That's what's important to come through here. Because you've been willing to do the hard work of conquering your demons, of slaying your inner dragons that wanted to make you turn back, right? Agape love came through. In fact, I'm going to leave these cards here. A miracle, okay? This is fucking crazy. This is powerful as hell. I'll try some scrying. Let's just see what comes through here. This is very biblical, right? This is really wild messaging. But there, if you look around, there's crazy shit going on. Okay, so I'm definitely seeing a skull. But it's also like a banshee. It's like a screaming banshee in the skies. And we're talking about that level of energy, right? Like the screaming of plane wrecks. This is really fucking crazy. This is intense. I don't know what we're all going through, but if you believe in like a type of a judgment day or something, maybe this is what we're being reflected on. The judgment card didn't come out though, so that's important to realize. And it could have, if it really wanted to emphasize that, it could have come out and it didn't. So that's meaningful for some reason. A spider, like a little spider coming down a thin silk that it's starting to build a web maybe. Ooh. There's like somebody I was being shown like a goiter or a huge mass in someone's jaw. Gosh, I'm sorry to say that, but it also could kind of be interpreted as a goiter. I don't know what that is, but teeth have been coming through off and on for me, so there might be somebody in here that's having a challenge with their jaw, and or they could be forming a goiter, you know, I don't know what, I'm not a doctor here. There's a lot of talk, like I'm just seeing talk, mouths moving, talking. It doesn't strike me as positive. Like, it's a lot of negative talk. You might have been really feeling surrounded by a bunch of nefarious people, but it's like you're just waking up to that fact. And in fact, in the past, when I was doing readings, it kept coming through this image of a panther that was trapped and sedated and trapped, and then when it woke up in its cage, it loses it and it just goes berserk in the cage, but then it harms itself. And so that might have been similar to an experience for you as you started realizing you were being set up or something. There's a feeling of trap, but you have the discernment to be still. You can't lose it like that panther did, like that big cat. You have to learn from a tragic event like that actually happened in Belize. And the people that were trying to manage the wildlife of the forest there realized we can't do that. These panthers can't handle that kind of an experience. It killed one. So it's important that you know that you can't lose it. You've got to stay calm and discerning like a king or a queen of swords. Okay, I'm just seeing Palestine. Gaza came through. Something to do with that is important. Those people in that experience, the bombing was so traumatizing and so dramatic, and they've been going through so much for so long in terms of a genocidal practice by a nation state. But there's still people doing hopeful things, returning, refusing to leave, replanting their gardens, right? It's that. There's protection and love here. That's what's important, even through all this chaos. It keeps showing me that goiter. I don't know what that means, but somebody's got, I mean, it might be having to do with poison words, poison talk, like we were talking about, but there's some message there for someone. Either a tumor or a mass in their jaw or a goiter. I don't know. I don't know what that is. It just keeps coming through, though. I'm seeing an arrow pointing towards my left, a blue arrow going left, pointing left. That could have political meaning for someone because it's blue, like the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party is considered left. Not in my opinion anymore, but right. Turn left, go left. Blue is also the color of the throat and the throat chakra. I brought a lot of blue in to try to just assure that I was communicating clearly in this layout and not sowing any fear or illusion, but rather bring confirmation to people. I'm seeing a prism and like light shining through a prism that has something to do with like even maybe like a multiverse is what I'm seeing. Somebody's eyesight might be being impacted, like blind spots in your line of vision. I don't know if that's glaucoma, but your eyesight might be being affected. You might be feeling like you have little spots in clouding your vision, literally, or we're talking about like maybe people trying to trick you, like we talked about. Okay, I don't know if I'm really seeing any more here now. there's like a toxic mouth. It's something about being careful about who you listen to, or this person's words have become so toxic that they've literally gotten sick. Okay, like they've got some kind of a jaw mass or whatever, but it's showing me someone's mouth, but in like a really toxic state, which can mean bad spell work, right? Like speaking ill over you, speaking death over someone, trying to set you up, right? Bella's reading talked about that. She had to come to terms with the fact that someone in her family was trying to line her up. And I don't know if I've been channeling that for someone or if it's literally my own reality, but I'm going to stop being afraid to talk about it, right? And be honest about what I'm seeing on my channel. This is what I've asked for and what I've been developing in my own third eye. And coming to realize that that episode I had in my 20s was as much like a precognitive experience, because a big part of it was revolution. And we're in those times now where people talk openly about revolution, right? So at the time, it just seems crazy and psychotic, and it was unpleasant. And I was acting psychotic, right? Like I wasn't acting like a visionary. I was showing all the signs of psychosis, but a lot of times people, when they tap into a psychotic episode, they also tap into a vein of brilliance, right? And I've had to make my peace with that, even if the people around me don't see it like that. I know who I am. I know what that experience meant to me, right? You know what your experiences mean, even if you're surrounded by people that don't get it or don't get you anymore. This is what's coming, right? True partnerships. Yeah, fucking A. It just keeps showing me Gaza. I don't know. Gaza. It's coastal, coastline, Aegean Sea, Gulf Coast. Those are all charged areas right now in the world politically. So I'm going to close this now. I'm going to close this mirror now. And what's something I can end on? I'd like to end on maybe an animal spirit that can help us know that what would be good energy to embody. What animals are guiding us through this. Gosh, I have chills again. I just have chills, which is like a confirmation for me that I'm doing good here, that I'm doing the right thing. Sometimes it feels confusing because I'm also a clinical social worker, and I get afraid, like, what if people think this is irresponsible for me to be doing? Well, it's not, It's not. I'm just tapping into a different community here. Troy. Oh, I think I already did Troy, but that's coming through again. I just saw it. Troy. Someone might be named Troy, or someone named Troy. What are some animal spirits that can help us feel safe and protected or guided with their knowledge as we go through this change that we're facing? This dying to the old way. Snake. I mean, what do I even have to say about that, right? Be willing to transform. Be willing to shift form, transform, concentrate, be self-aware, be cool, follow your instincts, get prepared, be diplomatic, be self-analyzing, and sexual intimacy. This can also speak to a Kundalini process that you may have been going through, which can create symptoms of mental illness. In some communities, they'll assign that kind of a process as mentally ill, whereas another spiritual community will say, no, it's a Kundalini awakening, right? Raven. Yeah, fuck, dude. Raven. That obsidian mirror strikes me as being willing to go into the dark void, which is healing. An obsidian mirror is also a healer. It heals through void energy, right? Magnetism, introspection, self-realization. This is important that you trust yourself. Very important. Believe in yourself. Be brave. Be willing to change. Be aloof and cool where it's required, like a king and queen of swords. And be confident in your ability to spellbind and bewitch. You're not just being targeted. You have that power within you. And that came through in my last live reading, which was super, super powerful. I highly recommend checking that out, and the video before it. The last 3 videos I've done, the live and the last video, had really powerful dream messages come through. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close that now. Actually, no, I've all of a sudden got the impulse. Let's just pull one ungame card. What's a question to be asking yourself right now that can help you with this process? Kendrick Lamar just did the halftime show, and I didn't watch it yet, but I'm going to because I'm a huge K-Dot fan. But his song Loyalty has been coming through a lot lately, so you might be re-examining your loyalties, right? Talk about a joyful time in your life. That's what's important. Tap into your joy to help you get through this. And if you could have a committee of 3 people, living or dead, to help you make decisions, whom would you choose? You can follow in the footsteps of those who've gone before us. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? People before us have done this kind of work and you know, can be guides for us, like a raven and a snake. All right, that's it. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.